Ladies and gentlemen, we meet again toward Parashat Et Chanan, Vayet Chanan, Parashat Nachamu, and I want to do something unusual. I want to start from the last pasuk. The last pasuk in our Parsha, even though our Parsha has many, many important issues, whether it's Shema Yisrael, whether it's the repeating the Ten Commandments, many fundamental important issues in the Parsha. But it's interesting how the pasuk that ends off the Parsha states, "V'shamarta et ha-mitzvah," you should keep the mitzvah, "v'et ha-chukim," and the laws, "v'et ha-mishpatim," and the different intricate laws, "asher anochi metzavcha hayom la'asotam," that I command you today to keep the laws. What is written here that hasn't been written before? So there are two issues. One is it's three-dimensional. That means we have three types of mitzvot. We have mitzvah, which are things that we could really work out by ourselves, like not to kill and not to steal. We could get to this decision of social justice by ourselves. We don't really need the Torah for it, but it is written in the Torah. Then there is mishpatim. Mishpatim are those that are explained to us that we wouldn't get to it by ourselves. Shabbos. There are certain issues, beauty of Shabbos, the beauty of all kinds of mitzvot, why we lay tefillin. It can be explained to us why we keep sukkah. It can be explained, and I wouldn't come to it by myself. But once it's explained, I do understand why I'm building a sukkah on Sukkot. And then there's the third type, which is called chukim. Chukim are laws. Laws are things we do not understand. We do not understand. Even Shlomo HaMelech said about the red heifer, the power aduma. Amarti achkama v'hir chuka mimeni. I thought I might understand it, but I don't understand. Even that the wisest man that ever lived could not get and understand the depth of all the mitzvot, because all mitzvot include also chukim, those which we do not have an explanation, we do not understand. And therefore, all these three we have to keep. We have to keep those we understand by ourselves, those we understand have to explain to us, and those which do not have a human explanation. I have to keep them all, that's one point. And the second point is, Asher anochi metzavcha hayom la'asotam. It could be, Asher anochi metzavcha la'asotam. That I'm commanding you to do. Why I'm commanding you today to do? Says Rashi, today, Hayom la'asotam ulemachar la'olam haba litol scharam. We don't always see the reward in this world. We do the work in this world. The mitzvahs we keep in this world. But the reward we don't get in this world. We get in the world to come. But we also get in this world. We do get in both worlds. How do I know? Because of a similar pasuk we have earlier on in the parsha. The pasuk says the following: "Vayitzaveinu Hashem," HaKadosh Baruch Hu commands us, "La'asot," to do what? Et kol hachukim ha'ele, to do all the chukim, those that are not understood. Why should we do things we don't understand? Liyir'ah et Hashem Elokeinu. Out of fear of God. We do it not because we understand it. We do it out of the fear of God. So let me tell you, when we're young children, we do everything just because we're told so. We don't fully understand it. We don't get it. When we're children, it's all chukim. They're all laws which do not have an explanation. As we grow older, we learn about social justice. As we grow older and we develop our cognitive skills, we get to understand some of the mitzvot on the level of, yes, that is simple, I should have thought it myself. Yes, that now that it's explained to me, the sukkah, the Shabbos, I can understand it. But there'll always be some that stay in the category of chukim, not understandable. But in the beginning, everything is not understandable. So we all go through this process. Why do we have to do this process? The pasuk says, "Letov lanu kol hayamim lechayoteinu k'hayom hazeh." That is good for us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was giving us good advice. Do these, so that you'll live kol hayamim, all the days. What's all the days? It is an invitation to live in eternal life. Kol hayamim means the days that we are alive, and it also includes the days after we die. Kol hayamim, the reward will be in this world and will be in the world to come. Lechayotenu kehayom hazeh. It'll give us, it'll make us vital. It'll make us alive, also in this world and also in the world to come. And that's the promise. What does that mean on a deeper level? Ladies and gentlemen, what this means on a deeper level is the Torah is the user manual written by the manufacturer. That's what it means. This is, and now, you read a user manual. Do you understand everything he tells you to do with this, with whatever it is he's talking about? No, but we believe him. Why? Because he is the manufacturer. And only the manufacturer knows why he created something and what is the best outcome we can have from our life. This is the user manual of our life, and it teaches us to get the best out of life. How can we see that? So I want to share with you a story, which is the most incredible story. One of the stories that I find outstanding about a woman, a girl who was born in Aachen, in Germany, border of Belgium, in 1920, 102 years ago. Born into a Jewish family, Sybil Berg, and she grew up in a Jewish family and had a Jewish upbringing. And then, as you can imagine, when she's a teenager, the Holocaust begins. And she is a very beautiful and talented and chutzpahdik young girl. And in 1939, long story, but she finds her way to Great Britain. She manages to escape Germany and get to Great Britain by pretending that she's German because she had blonde hair and she had the right spectacles, had the right dialect of German, of Hochdeutsch, of higher German. She acted as if she was German, but when she came to the British border, she thought the British would be happy to save her. So she told the British officers, "Save me, I'm a Jewish girl." They took one look at her, they heard her accent, and they looked at her and they said, "No, you are an alien, and this is wartime. You go straight to prison." They didn't buy it. They didn't believe she's a Jewish girl. So she begged them, "I'm willing to do anything, just not prison." So they said, looked at each other and said, "Anything, just not prison?" Yeah, she said, "Yes, anything." As a 19-year-old beautiful Jewish girl in a British prison as an alien, that would be hell. So she was willing to do anything. So they said, "Okay, there is one other option." So she said, "What's that? What's that?" They said, "Look, nowadays, this is 1939. Nowadays, there are two types of hospitals. There are regular hospitals for orthopedic issues and other issues, and there are contagious disease hospitals. Now, we need people to work in contagious disease hospitals because nobody wants to work there. Because at the time, people didn't know how things got contaminated and how these diseases passed from one to another. And therefore, these places were nunneries. They were big Christian monasteries, and all the nurses that worked there did it b'mesirut nefesh. They actually took care of all these sick people until they themselves caught something and died themselves. That means it was most likely around 6 months between the time a nurse started working there and she herself got picked up one of these illnesses and died from it. So it was a short-term contract. And they said that, yes, you can go and work in this nunnery of contagious disease hospitals. And they laughed and they said, after 2 years, we will give you a certificate that you are a registered nurse and you can go wherever you want to in England. But until then, you're an alien, and that's the choice. So she said, "I'll take it." So she goes there. She goes to the main nurse there. As she comes in, the main mother nurse, and she says, "Look, nobody wants to believe me, but I'm a Jewish woman. I'm willing since I'm Jewish, I would like to make two requests. Please help me. I'll ask for two requests. One is I want double shifts. I want to work twice as hard than anybody else in this building. But in return, I would like a favor. That is, look, I'm a Jewish Orthodox girl. I cannot live in a room which has crosses on all the walls and is full of nuns. I can't do that. Give me an attic somewhere that I'll sleep by myself in a little room by myself. The second thing is, we wash hands when we wake up, and we wash hands before food, and we wash hands. So I need a basin with and a possibility to wash hands. And the third thing is, I don't eat with you guys. We keep kosher, and therefore I need a new pot, and I'll take every now and then some vegetables and some eggs from the kitchen. I'll cook for myself. The head nurse said, "This is a good deal. Let's do it." And she was in her attic. She didn't have friends. She didn't make friends. She didn't want to have friends amongst the nuns. She had two books she managed to bring with her. One was Chofetz Chaim al Torah, and she knew every Chofetz Chaim al Torah because that's what she did every Shabbos to instead of Parashat Shavua. And she had Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, which are all the laws, and she kept each one of these laws properly until the last day of her life. She knew off by heart both of these books. And what happened was, after 6 months, she wasn't contaminated, and she continued for another 6 months. And everybody was surprised. How come she's not getting any illness? And then after a year, she continued another 6 months, and she wasn't contaminated, and she was going strong. And then after 2 years, they had no choice but to give her a certificate, and she went with the certificate of a registered nurse to the Manchester Jewish Hospital, where they found her a nice shidduch, and she married my father, which means that I'm talking about my mother. My mother was a special person, and she says to me, "Look, I was saved from catching any of these diseases because I kept the halachas of kashrus. We don't know the halachas of kashrus, what they do for us. But I was saved because I cooked for myself. I was saved because of the halachas of Netilas Yadayim. We don't fully understand, appreciate why we do Netilas Yadayim, but because she lived by herself in that attic, and she did Netilas Yadayim all the time, and she kept kosher food and cooked for herself and didn't eat the same. She was a healthy woman. In fact, she was exposed to so many things that she created such antibodies. I buried her 5 years ago when at the age of 97, she was never ill all her life because she had such strong antibodies. What does that mean? That means Letov lanu kol hayamim. These laws are good for us. These laws keep us alive, whether we understand them or we don't understand them. It says in the Mishnah that the Fum Tzara Agro, that the merit we have of a mitzvah is according to the difficulty. What mitzvah is most difficult? The mitzvahs we don't understand. The mitzvahs we don't understand are the most difficult. The mitzvah we understand is easy for us. So the chukim, those that we don't understand, we get the most schar for, and one day we will understand, whether it's in this world or the world to come, we will understand that these are the mitzvahs that actually kept us alive. Shabbat Shalom.